Are you prepared to defend your home if you get some nasty visitors? In this video, I want to talk about what I believe to be 5 key home defense weapons. Stick around. I'm always apprehensive to do a video like this because I'm not trying to be rude, but you're going to invite a lot of experts who want to argue. With that being said, I'm not trying to force my strategy on you, but I will be sharing with you what I believe to be are very effective home defense weapons. And I'm not talking about necessarily fighting off a military regime. I'm just talking about a classic home invasion with one or maybe two perpetrators. I want to get to the foundation and ask you as the viewer, are you prepared to protect your home? Have you ever thought about the possibility of a home invasion? The statistics I'm about to give you just came from Google search. Every year in America, there are 2.5 million burglaries. 1.65 million of them were considered home invasions. 72% of home robberies happened when people were not at home. Before we talk about weapons, we've got to talk about common sense due diligence, because common sense due diligence can prevent a great majority of these types of things. You'd be surprised how many people just hang out in their homes without the doors locked. You're basically inviting someone in. You may think, I live in a safe neighborhood, I live in a safe place. How do you know that there's not a criminal on the run who has cut through the woods, who has cut through the county where you live, and he's not going to use your home as a shelter if he gets the chance? At least locked doors buys you some time and gives you a chance to get ready and respond. If your doors are unlocked, they can just roll right in on you unaware. We also can't be too quick to just swing our door open. There's nothing wrong with going, who is it? Or just coming around and looking out the window. Don't just open your door to be nice. Be sure of who you're opening your door to. And if you didn't call a repairman, don't let a repairman in. And if you didn't call him, check to see if somebody else did. Another thing to consider is your security parameters. What type of security do you have? Do you have a security system at all? Do you have anything in place to be a deterrent? These are all the things we need to be talking about before we start talking about weapons. Now, as a disclaimer, all of the weapons that I'm going to put on display here is if you choose or feel you need to use lethal means. First on the list is a shotgun. I believe a shotgun is the best firearm for home defense. The reason I believe that a shotgun is better for home defense than, say, a pistol is because, number one, you're probably not going to miss, even if you're nervous and scared. Number two, you don't have to worry about the bullet traveling from your house to someone else's. Some may ask, do you use birdshot or buckshot? Well, that's a big debate among people, believe it or not. I would challenge you to go out and do your own research there and come to your own decision on that. Prices on shotguns can range from $100 into the thousands. If you don't have the money to buy an expensive shotgun, just get you a single shot. A single shot's better than no shot. It's not necessarily what I recommend. I'm just saying that it's pretty inexpensive to get some form of shotgun. Number two on the list would be a pistol. I know I just told you that I preferred shotguns over pistols, but let's talk about the pistol. Some people are just more comfortable shooting pistols, and some people might live in an area where they don't have the risk of shooting through the walls at someone else. It's just different scenarios for different people, but I don't want to minimize the effectiveness of a pistol if you know how to shoot. Now, that's if you know how to shoot. Pistol shooting requires a lot of training. There's some training that goes into being able to properly handle a pistol, and not everybody's cut out for it. If somebody doesn't know how to shoot a pistol, I'd rather put a shotgun in their hands, but I can't rule out the effectiveness of a good sidearm. You just want to do your research, though. The type of pistol you'd want to carry around might be different from the cannon you want to keep at home. Captain Obvious statement here, but you want to make sure you're using self-defense rounds and not full metal jacket. The next category is for those who either don't have guns or don't want to use a gun. So let's start with the baseball bat. Okay, this is the Brooklyn Basher from Cold Steel. These polypropylene bats will absolutely crush everything that they hit. But I will tell you something about using baseball bats. The reason why I like the Brooklyn Basher for home defense is because it's better suited for close quarters. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Intruder. It's going to be quite of a spoiler here, so you might want to fast forward if you haven't seen the movie The Intruder. But that movie really demonstrates the good use of a baseball bat in home defense. The protagonists are trying to get away from a home invading antagonist who has a shotgun, and what saves their life is one of the guys was able to crack him in the face with a baseball bat when he wasn't looking, and trust me, it finished the fight. One thing I want to say about using a baseball bat in self-defense is that the element of surprise is very important. I've seen multiple videos where somebody tried to use a baseball bat on somebody else and the person was able to deflect the attack because they saw it coming. You got to remember, you're swinging from back here. So if somebody closes in on you, they can stop you mid-swing pretty easy. I saw a guy one time block a baseball bat and he ended up beating the guy into oblivion. So just keep in mind that the element of surprise is very important with a baseball bat. Another hard-hitting, dangerous home defense weapon that's not often talked about is the tactical tomahawk. I've got the Browning Shock and All here, which is hard-hitting and very compact, super dangerous. And this is the SOG Fast Hawk. Both of these are good home defense tomahawks. Now, some would say I like one a little bit bigger, but you got to remember you're operating in close quarters and you got to be quick. I know we see and hear a lot about throwing tomahawks, and my advice to you is never to throw away your only weapon. If you're in some kind of all-out battle and throwing a weapon is your only option, just make sure you've got something else on your side. Typically in home defense, you need to keep this in your hand. Before I get to our last weapon, I want to say how important it is when you're using a weapon. You've got to be all in. You've got to be fully committed, and you also got to understand that you run the risk of your weapon being taken and used against you. So this is an all-in thing, no hesitation. You have to use it like your life depends on it, and it does. And the weapons that you have on inventory with the possibility of having to use them are weapons you need to be training with. Last but not least, knives, swords, machetes, etc. Just something to keep in mind. This is your home, and you're often dealing with close quarters, sometimes more close than you want it to be. If you're going to use a knife, use a good fighting knife, something like the Master Tanto knife here. It's got a blunt edge to strike with and a slicing edge that won't quit, and it has the piercing ability to pretty much pierce anything. Just about every knife is scary depending on how well you know how to use it. And even if you were to use a sword, they make swords out there with a decent length blade but not too long, and that's probably best to consider for close quarters in the home. You need to be able to move as quick and effective as possible. To use or not to use lethal means of self-defense in the home is a topic that people are largely divided on. And it needs to be said that not everybody who breaks into your house is breaking in to kill you. But coming into your house is a serious issue. And when someone's in your home and possibly around your children or your spouse, this is self-defense on another level. This is not just some guy walking to you up in the streets that you're unsure about. These people have entered your castle and they have potential to do anything. So, you know, if you're one of those who doesn't want to use lethal means, I respect your decision. And I'm also asking you to respect mine. I have children, and I don't know how lenient I'm going to be on somebody who walks into my home, especially if I discover that there's any intent to harm my family. So it's just a decision that you have to make. Just remember, this is nothing like the movies. You know, in the movie, the perpetrator gets killed and everybody lives happily ever after, but in real life, you're going to go to court and be tried. So you have to live with your decision. This is one of the reasons why I've made the personal choice to have self-defense liability insurance through the USCCA. But this video is about lethal means of self-defense, and all of these areas of weaponry require training and due diligence. So this is just something to think about, and I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. Do stay safe and know that this was all for educational purposes only. Take care.